Hello and good morning. Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads. Here for today, Friday, the 10th of January. I'm just making sure that all the audio stuff's going on over there. But yes, this is Ice Cream Uploads. It is the home of The Scoop, which goes live every weekday at 10 a.m. live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is We've Got Webinio/Bibby/ Top Guy Bibs, and today is not Graham. We have our other co-host, which is Mr. Luke Burns.
Hello. Hope everyone is well. 10th of January already. We're already a third of the way through January.
Do you not think this week's gone well fast?
It has, yeah. It's probably gone fast. It will probably start dragging eventually because January never keeps going fast.
No. But to be fair though, last year was stupidly fast. Like, it was my first full year here. Because I started in May the year before.
Got you, yeah.
So it just went like that. I got all the events that we was doing. It was in and out of the office. It was just absolutely mental.
Once you get into routine, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, this is The Scoop. It is going to be, obviously, the beginning of the week, it was very slow, wasn't it? Like, there was next to no news, obviously, coming back from New Year, Christmas period. It started to pick up a little bit. We've got a few more stories for you today compared to the rest of the week.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all those journalists have finally woken up from Christmas and, starting to get their ass in gear again.
Definitely. So, we've got the first story that we've got today is probably something that you're going to be able to give me a lot more information on, purely because I haven't played this game. Have you got this game?
I do. I've not played too much of it yet. I got it for Christmas. But yeah, I know a bit about it.
Cool. Well, before we get into that, again, this is The Scoop. We go live every single day at 10 a.m. here. Well, every weekday, shall we say. We don't work weekends. Well, we do stream on the weekends. We don't necessarily do this, though. So thank you very much for joining us. If you are in the chat, please feel free to let us know that you are there. If you want to join in, it's just as simple as typing in the box. This will then go live later on in the day, usually about an hour or so after on YouTube, and obviously later on after that. If you don't already follow us on any of our any of our social platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and and Facebook, you will see that we post this as an MP3 on all of our social feeds later on in the day. I can see today we have Pirate and also Lazar, so thank you very much for joining, lads. Lazar's saying playing is believing in reference to PES 2020, 2019, and I think 2018 as well. But good morning to you, Lazar. And also Pirate has joined us, Mr. Admin himself. Graham, you look different today.
Yes, again, I did this earlier in the week as well. Just decided to change my look a little bit. When Ginger wear glasses and all that.
Better looking, I might say.
Obviously, every now and again, you've got to really sort of put on a show. You know what I mean?
I'm just waiting for him to come through both of the studio doors and just start giving us shit. David Fish is also in the chat as well. Welcome. Good morning to you, Mr. Fish. So, our first topic of the day, and it's something that we just mentioned then, which is Pokemon. Do you want to go through this one then to try and make a bit more sense of it?
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, it will make sense in a minute.
Let's go to the game frame.
So, this is from VG247, and it is by Alex Donaldson. Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass. New Pokemon and everything else in the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC explained.
Oof, that's a chunky title.
It is. The Gala region is expanding with the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, new DLC adding the new Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra areas. So, by the way, this was from basically the Pokemon Direct, which you guys may have watched just yesterday. So this is where the news dropped from. But while Pokemon Sword and Shield had its shortcomings, it was still in many ways the most ambitious Pokemon game ever released. In many ways, those shortcomings whiffed of a game that was perhaps pushed out of the door with little haste in order to meet a certain release date. That might have been true, we'll likely never know, but regardless, we're now getting a bunch of additions to the game as DLC that are really going to help to fill it out. Be that in terms of new zones to explore, previously missing Pokemon to catch, even more all-new Pokemon, and a continuation of the story of Sword and Shield. With that said, being Pokemon, this stuff is never strictly straightforward, so here's what you need to know.
Oof.
Whew, okay, it's going to be a long read. So, the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass release date and price. Okay, Here's perhaps the most important single piece of information about the upcoming Sword and Shield DLC. So let's get it out of the way up top. The DLC will release in 2 parts, the first in June 2020 and the latter at some point in autumn 2020. We'll talk more about the way the DLC is split in the next few headings, but just know that the Isle of Armor is the first new area and will be available in June 2020. Then the Crown Tundra will release later on. The 2 DLCs offer 2 different areas with unique focuses and a variety of different Pokemon to catch. So the DLC is available to purchase. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip over these little bits, but basically, $29.99 each, or it's $29.99 or £26.99 for the pair, I should say.
Right, I'm just going to throw in a little curveball here. With this being only $26.99, there was rumours that they were going to basically remaster one of the old games or make an ultimate version of this where they put DLC in, because they've done that previously, haven't they? So would you rather... Well, I don't think it's a question that needs to be answered, really. Would you rather pay for this DLC than buy an ultimate version of the game? The game only came out in September last year.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's kind of one of those kind of classic questions, I suppose, when it comes to DLC. Really, should it have been in the game in the first place?
Well, yeah, that was the next thing that I was going to bring up. But there's so many games that have come out recently that I think Final Fantasy 15 or maybe 14. What was I think it was 14 that came out recently. I can't remember. Anyway,
I get mixed with them.
Yeah, so the game base itself was, I think, 60 to 80 hours, and then the DLC that came after really should have been part of the original storyline that should have been in there. So making DLCs to fill in the gaps of the storyline for the main game that you've already spent £60 on seems like a bit of a shitty thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. I suppose with Final Fantasy, you know, you weigh up your money's worth in the sense of obviously 60 to 80 hours was still good value for money.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the extra sort of thing with this Pokemon game is that straight from the offset they released them for the first time with not all the Pokemon in.
Yeah.
Sort of like maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing at fractions here, maybe like a quarter or a third of the Pokemon that exist, and that should have been enough to raise eyebrows in the first place, that they were going to put them behind a paywall. And that is, in the one hand, it's kind of almost like modernising Pokemon, or modernising the approach of Pokemon to make it like every other game is doing, really, I suppose, but it's still a bit cynical, and I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to if all future Pokemon games are now going to be like this, where half the Pokemon that we're used to always being able to get, you know, have to pay for now.
Do you think that's because of the demographic of the people that are going to be playing this game now, i.e. me and you, that are 30-ish, around the age, compared to someone that... say my brother's 13, he doesn't like Pokemon, he's not from that generation where we grew up playing Pokemon. Every time a new one came out, you're going out and you're buying that. Around his age, we're now of a class as an adult. Is this still targeted at us? Because I imagine the people who are picking it up, who are between 8 and 13, aren't asked about the rest of the national Pokedex and things like that.
True.
So for them, if they're getting the DLC, they're just saying, I've got more to do, rather than there's more Pokemon that's going to be added to it.
Yeah, rather than like, they've hidden half the content away from me. Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't necessarily say that Sword and Shield in of themselves are very... They could have been better designed to be for our generation, because they're quite easy, like probably one of the easiest sort of Pokemon games yet. They've just been continually getting easier, and I feel like if they were sort of targeting at us, they should have made them a bit more challenging. But at the same time, obviously I think maybe a wider age range, you could certainly say, now for Pokemon and its appeal.
In that respect, then, do you think they should make... Because Pokemon was my first... I can't remember another game beforehand. It was my first RPG.
Yeah.
Like it's in turn-based action style, like you need to go and collect these kind of things. It's my very first RPG, and I don't remember it. If I played it now, I think it'll be piss. Like you'd be able to run through it in next to no time, obviously because of how much we know about Pokemon now. But for someone who's probably picking this up as his first, or he or she as their first Pokemon game, do you reckon they should put a difficulty in the game then, rather than it just being a flat difficulty level then?
I think you could do that, to be honest. Surely it would just be a case of, like, if you had an easier difficulty setting, just make all the opposing Pokemon like a few levels lower, or at least the trainers levels sort of like lower.
So they're using moves at particularly like a bad move at a bad time, like they've got next to no health and they're using something daft.
Yeah, like the AI could be like a bit more stupid or something. I would welcome that actually, because I've not got that far in this game yet. I'm kind of going off what other people have said as well. Like Jack upstairs is getting near completing it, and he's saying that the gyms and everything are just a lot easier. His Pokemon are like 10-15 levels above like where he's at the moment. It's easier to level because of this experience share mechanic, where if you win a battle, all of your Pokemon get experience, not just like one.
Mrs. Bibby plays Pokemon. Well, she did play all the Pokemons in 3DS. I didn't play a 3DS Pokemon, but she's obviously still in love with it at the time. She hasn't played any of the Switch ones like I've got. But that mechanic, I think, came in one of the 3DS games. It could have been X or Y or maybe even before that. And I thought that was the worst move they could have made, because that's made the game, like you just said, even easier. Like,
yeah, I agree.
You've got me having a particular set of Pokemon in my bag for a battle, having to go through the forest or whatever it is, the wild areas, to be able to just grind the levels up. It was the main part of Pokemon for me. Like, not just going and catch them, but like grinding the levels for a particular Pokemon to raise it up. I might as well just have potentially the best Pokemon in my bag and just watch them evolve without even bringing them out of the bag.
That's basically what I end up doing, like, and what I've started doing so far in Sword and Shield is I just got my starter and I've barely had to ever switch him out, because I know that, like, it's not like before where I'd be like, I'll have to put these other Pokemon out for a bit and train him up or whatever and battle in the wild for a bit. I just know that they're leveling up in my bag and they're there if I absolutely need them. But meanwhile, like, my starter's leveling up nicely as well, and because it's easy as well in general, I'm just going to tank through the whole thing just with him. You know, it's a very odd thing. But yeah, let's get back into the rest of the arc. We've got a lot to go through with this one. Yeah, definitely. So I'll move on to where do the expansion pass DLCs fit into the Sword and Shield story? This is perhaps one of the most interesting and exciting things about the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC that's releasing as part of the expansion pass. They slot in pretty much anywhere in the story. That means the DLC will be ready to give you a new challenge if you're already in the post-game, but even those starting a Sword and Shield for the first time will find they can jump into the DLC from early on. Specifically, you'll be able to head off to the Isle of Armor in June 2020 on any save file that has accessed the wild area, which happens very early in the game, no more than a few hours in, even if you're taking your time. From there, you'll be able to go back and forth with the original game's content and the new DLC stuff. Okay, so that's kind of interesting in itself. Though obviously, I wonder how they're going to do that as far as like levels of Pokemon. Then are they going to adjust accordingly, or
it's got to be dynamic.
Yeah, you would have thought so. So old Pokemon returning in the new Sword and Shield DLC. Here's the hottest news of the day for hardcore fans. The DLC will usher in the return of a bunch of older Pokemon that haven't yet appeared in the Galar region and thus were absent from Pokemon Sword and Shield, thanks to the decision to not include the National Pokedex in the game. Pokemon you'll be able to catch in thanks to these additions include the likes of Garchomp, Chansey, Magnezone, Horsey.
I mean, who's giving a shit about Horsey when it's at home? You know what I mean?
Well, you say that, but it does have an amazing third evolution now called Kingdra. But anyway, I actually know some of these now. Volcarono, Nidoran, Beldum, and Crobat, just to name a few. In all, 200 classic Pokemon will make their return in the 2 DLCs that make up the expansion pack. With when each Pokemon shows up, is that right? With when each Pokemon shows up determined by where it'll more naturally fit into the new areas. Some will appear on the Isle of Armor, while others will show up in the Crown Tundra. There will also be some version exclusive differences between Sword and Shield, as always. Oh, and a good chunk of the 200 newly added Pokemon are legendary Pokemon from the past titles. Practically every classic legendary can be caught in the new zones of the DLC, be it through wild area style raid battles or through other means. If you don't want to buy the DLC, a free update is coming to the game too. This free downloadable update will allow players to transfer in the 200 newly added from other sources like Pokemon Go and the soon-to-launch Pokemon Home, which will let you bring in Pokemon from other past console titles if you wish.
Do you not think that's cheating?
Yeah, I remember this being in the Pokemon Direct, and Jack was like half watching again, and he was sort of like, "Oh, all right, that's fine then. I'll get you to buy the DLCs, and then just give me all the Pokemon," which is like, you can do, which is a bit weird.
But it's like the Pokemon Go stuff. Like, fair enough, there's only one person, I think, in this office that is still hardcore Pokemon Go, and that's Mr. Graham Day. He will more than likely have a full Pokedex already in his bank. Now, he can just boot this game up from the very start, have his entire Pokemon Go in this game. That, again, it's too easy.
Yeah, it is too easy, I agree. I don't know whether it will have limits in some form or other, like you can only transfer one Pokemon a day or something, who knows, or the level might be really bad, but the fact is you're still getting them, aren't you? Yeah, I agree, it's too easy.
Just going through the chat a second. Pirates obviously saying morning to you, mate. Chucky Boy says, day off, so I'll finally get a chance to watch live. Thank you very much, and I appreciate that, mate. Again, if you are in the chat and you have any kind of opinions on Pokemon or any of the other articles that we're going to be going through in time, then feel free to chip in. We'll obviously be going through all the comments and get your opinions heard. Phantom FX joins as well and says, yo to you. Good sir, Mr. Chilling in LA at 3 o'clock in the morning, but he's still here, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
What a guy.
It's pretty impressive.
Dedication. Good morning to you all.
Nice.
Right, so is this the last part? Because
there's loads, so I think I'll breeze through this last bit with a summary. The basically in the previous Pokemon games, it introduced sort of regional versions of Pokemon we're already familiar with. So they had Elarian, I think was the I can't quite remember the word, but it's basically like represented the region, and then you would have like, rather than just a Sandshrew, you would have that regional Sandshrew, and it would be ice type or something like that, rather. So they're continuing with that sort of thing. They've got a Galarian Slowpoke, Slowbro and Slowking. You might have seen images of those either just now in the article or around on the internet. It was sort of going around the internet yesterday. It's literally just like a Slowpoke but with a yellow head. Or a bit of a yellow
They're starting to lose the imagination for making new ones, aren't they?
Which, maybe it means it's electric, but it's funny how just yellow means electric nowadays as well. But
well, the only opinion that Fish has about Pokemon is that Bulbasaur is the GOAT, and I am very much in the Mr. It's David Fish camp, because Bulbasaur is the GOAT. My favourite Pokemon of all time.
I know quite a few people who love Bulbasaur. I think he's cool, but if I'm going from a purely like gameplay point of view, like proper like stats and all that stuff, I just prefer Squirtle.
Yeah, Mrs. Bibby's Squirtle ride or die.
Yeah,
but exactly. It's Bulba all the way, mate. Ice Cream Uploads has joined the chat. It's got to be Grey Mustache. And dropped in a Charizard, and Phantom SX dropped in a Pikachu. But yes, there's a comment there just saying hello to everyone. But yeah, it's a massive article. Now, if you are anyway interested in all this Pokemon news, obviously the direct was yesterday. We kind of watched it, but it was just very Japanese, wasn't it? It was a little not for us.
I mean, for something that's like so fun and lighthearted as Pokemon, they sure find a way of making it dry as hell. But yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go on with this article because it's so long, except to say new Pokemon. It's not just like a case of sort of returning old Pokemon, but they've got some new Pokemon in there. New Gigantamax forms, which for those who aren't familiar, in this version of Pokemon Sword and Shield, some Pokemon can turn Mahusif. And then there's just like new clothing and characters and stuff like that, customization stuff.
So obviously, as always, when this goes live, live as an on-demand service, you'll be able to go through all the show notes, be able to pick out the articles that you're interested in. Give us your opinions later on if you are listening to this in your car, walking the dog, shopping in Morrison's, whatever it is. Feel free to tag either myself, Luke, Ice Cream Uploads, or Graham Day into it, and let's just continue the discussion on social media. We'd love to be able to do that with you.
Let's get a debate going. When we put this up, and you do your usual links, SoundCloud and stuff, I want people to reply with their favourite starter. Get a debate going.
Right, okay, yeah. Look, if you are in the chat, feel free to start discussing that. Obviously, we are going through the chat, we're picking these up. That's the benefit of listening to this live. You're able to interact with us and get involved in the conversations. What is your all-time favourite Pokemon, which usually is like the starter Pokemon.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, no
usually
one's got
the
one.
original.
Yeah, any of the first 125 will be fine with that, and we will go through them at the end of the show. Now, I've picked this one out because this follows on to a conversation that we had yesterday, and it's something that I was quite passionate about. Maybe didn't word it in perhaps the way that I should have done.
Right.
Not in any kind of slapped wrist way, but I was kind of aggressive with their business plan, and it seems to have taken a turn for the worst.
Oh dear.
So yesterday we talked about Game. Now, anybody that's from the UK or has lived in the UK, I mean, I don't know if Game is part of the American brand of GameStop or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But they all basically do exactly the same thing. So Game intends to close 40 stores in the UK, and this has been written by Wesley Yin-Poole over on Eurogamer. I will run through the article and I'll give you my opinions. If you was in the chat yesterday, you would have already known what they are, and I'll just give you a roundup of them again today. So Game intends to close 40 stores in the UK, it's confirmed. As of October, Game has 259 stores and 21 Belong esports arenas in the UK. Game has said that 13 stores have been served notice so far, including sites in Mansfield, Canterbury, Watford, Glasgow, Fort and Leicester. Yesterday, Game served notice of a further 14 sites, including Derby, Norwich Chapelfield, Lakeside, Bexley Heath, Carmarthen, is that how you say that? Carmarthen?
I don't know where it is anyway.
No one knows where it is. That's why no one goes.
Yeah.
But as part of what is called a store rationalisation programme, that's a really bad name. The store additional sites will be served notice in the near future, Game warned. There's a slightly confusing quote attached to the Game's notice, Game's note to the press this evening that suggests the company has yet to decide whether it will leave its 40 locations or it's just confirmed its plans to close the stores. We've asked for clarification in brackets by Wesley. We are working closely with the landlords throughout the UK to ensure that we do not have to vacate the 40 locations, which could lead to a number of job losses. However, we're facing a challenging retail market, and Game, with its extensive retail footprint, needs to restructure. Landlords need to work with us in setting realistic, fair rents. You see, that last sentence has already pissed me off because it's such a PR statement, but they say they need to restructure their landlords to work with us in setting realistic, fair rents. How is the prices that they put on the cases realistic to the people that they want to go in and pay the price?
Yeah.
That you can see where my opinion yesterday has led to this, because I was furious reading it.
Exactly. Like, and every other shop ever could put that argument in place as well. Like,
exactly.
You know.
But to continue with the article, back in October 2019, Game drafted in property consultants firm CBRE to work out whether the number of shops it had in the UK needed to change. According to a report by our sister site, gamesindustry.biz, CBRE and Game's current stores have an average unexpired lease term of less than 0.8 years. I imagine that's 8 months.
Yeah.
Well, just put 8 months. That makes no sense again.
Or maybe 9 or 10 because there's 12 months, but anyway, yeah.
It's very odd.
It's confusing.
Yeah, which makes this a significant opportunity to restructure the current portfolio. Bet the staff working at Game will love that language. Again, it's just such a PR shitty way of saying stuff with the people that are actively working there in the on the ground floor.
Yeah.
But when Game parent company Sports Direct published its first report in July 2019, it said it didn't think Game was capable of weathering the industry pressures it faces alone. To get the Game, retail and Belong concepts right will also require a high degree of flexibility than has proven possible under the current collaboration agreement. Sports Direct said in a challenged market, the collaboration agreement simply doesn't go far enough to address the issue that Game faces as a standalone business. The structural and escalating shift to digital gaming and game streaming will have a significant impact on physical game retailers. The retail market is littered with examples of businesses that fail to adapt quickly enough to changing consumer demands. Sports Direct believes that Game needs to diversify and future-proof its product mix if it is to keep up with the technological developments and to ensure that it doesn't become irrelevant to customers. So as I've been reading that, I have the chat up on my phone and I can see that the chat has been going wild with this. I am fairly certain, without reading any of them, that they have I mean, I'm only assuming at this point that they have the same opinion of me, so I'm just going to run through these before giving you my overall feedback. So, the first comment that we see is Bulbs is the goat. Bulba Lamau. I love that. Chairman of us up. Right, let's go past this. We'll leave them to the end. I'll scroll back up. I don't know what's the last time. Pirate says, to be honest, I don't know when the last time I went to game was. Oh, wait, now I do. It was when the Pez Bus event was there. Game should have gone around 10 years ago, says Phantom SFX. And been clutching on crazy like yeah. They never adapted and had years to do so. 0.8 is what a way of writing it. Lads of the Greek need to go take care, lads. No worries. Game is just overpriced nowadays. Yeah. So my overall feeling of this for anyone that wasn't in the stream yesterday, I'll give you a roundup. They are so out of practice with the people that need to go in and buy their games. It is outstanding that they've lasted this long. I am fairly certain that in the last 5 years they've gone into administration at least twice. They changed their business model around the time that they're going into administration to be able to get people back in again and go and buy the shit off their shelves. The shit that they're putting on their shelves now are clearly things that people don't want to buy. If I wanted to buy a game, I could literally type in the game in Google and find that game at least £20 cheaper on either Amazon or any other kind of third-party retailer. Game nowadays is so overpriced for either a AAA title or a second-hand game. Whereas my local game is on a precinct in around the Denton area, and over the road is a CEX. If I wanted to go into buy a game, I would go into CEX to have a look first. If it's second, I don't care if it's brand new. If the game still plays, I'm not asked. If it's going to save money, again, not asked. But the fact that they have completely neglected to look after their consumers first and just gone for the higher price points. Now, the poor lads and lasses that are on the till that has to upsell the shit, like Funko Pops or whatever kind of shit stationery that they've got at the time with a game that it's going to get bundled in with or in the bargain bin in 4 months' time. I feel sorry for those people that are on the front line that have to do that. Whereas these guys are looking for £50 for a game that comes out. Fair enough, there's only a few games in the current year that you could say that's going to be a £50 game. But they'll wrap it up to £60 or they'll bundle it in with something shit so you have to pay £90 to go and buy that game. It's ridiculous that Digital has not undercut them in so many ways that they could just write out all of these stores. Now, it's a shame that eventually, I think, in about 2 or 3 years, these stores are no longer going to be there, which is a massive shame, because I love the fact that I can go into a shop and I can spend hours browsing the stuff, but in game, there's nothing to browse anymore.
Well, to what extent do you think it's game's fault then, and to what extent is it inevitable for them anyway? I think
the majority of blame has to be placed on them because of their business practice. Now, the fact that Sports Direct own them and they undercut places like JD, TK Maxx, or whoever it is that they're challenging against at the moment, and they don't offer the same practice in game. I'm fairly certain Game bought Game Station at one point, which Game Station was so much better to go in and browse because they had all the retro stuff. They had TVs that wasn't just locked to football games or the big game at the time. You could go in, you could change the game if you wanted to. They'd have a stack there next to it. You could spend an afternoon in there if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to pay for anything. But they had that business practice, and it's a shame that they went under because they for me, as a consumer, they looked after the consumer before Game does. Granger Games was another one that was alright. They had a lot more retro stuff in there. Now, as a retro gamer or a person that likes playing old shit games, as Graham calls them, that's perfect for me. I can do that all day. I want a sprinkle of that. Now, GameStop in America are going through something at the moment. Now, if you are living in America, then feel free to chip in with this one with me. I'm fairly certain that GameStop has started to treat their stores not just as a selling place, but a place where you can go in and they've got couches there, you can play games, they've got a fridge in the corner, you can go in, you pay for a drink. But kind of like what Arcade Club is for us at the moment, the way that me and Graham go, we go there, we have pizzas, we fucking play PUBG on a 70-inch screen or whatever it is. Exactly. They're looking after the consumers rather than their profit lines, and I'm fairly certain it's starting to turn around over there for them because people are going there for leisure activities rather than just going in to sell to buy stuff.
I mean, they have to look after the profit lines, though, don't they? They are
absolutely. But if, for instance, right, hottest game right now that's still worth something, right? Okay, Breath of the Wild. It's been out for 3 years. If you was to go and buy that game now from anywhere, it's still going to be top price. 50 quid, we'll call it, 45, 50 quid. If I was to go and trade that game in now, I'll get 20 quid for it. where's that other 25 quid going, mate?
Exactly, yeah. Too much of it is going to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair enough, look after yourself. Make sure that you're going to be flush. Don't put yourself at a disadvantage. But the fact that they're taking, like, scalping 25 quid off the top of it is outrageous.
It is, like...
Because they'll put it back on the shelf again for £40. If it's 45 new, it'll be £40 resale.
This is one of the things they need to... Well, I suppose they've not gone under yet as such. There's some of the stores have, but if they want to turn it around now, they have to concentrate on the things that you can't do online, I think. So even like buying physical stuff, you can do online, right? You can go on Amazon and buy like a physical copy. So the trading in, though, that'd be more difficult to do online. So they need to be good at that. Like
they have actually got a part of the website that you can type in the barcode of your game, and they'll give you an idea of what it is or how much it'll be. But then I've done this before. This is not me bullshitting. I've put something on the website and thought I can get £25 for that. I'm going to go into my local game and do that. I get to the till and they say no, it's £20. I said, but it says 25 on the website. They said yeah, if you live in big areas like London where the prices are dearer down there, it doesn't say store specific or anything like that. It's like geographical locations. So I mean, feel free to try it out yourself. If you've got a game that you wanted to get rid of, put it on there, see how much to give you, and go into your local one and see what the difference is. It's outrageous. Their business practice as it is now for a consumer to go in and buy and sell games is outrageous. It needs to change. I'm glad that it looks like it's about to change. I feel sorry for the people that are potentially may lose the job because it's absolutely no fault of themselves. They're being asked to upsell stuff at the proper shit stuff as well. Like it is bad. And now I did actually have a look at the comments that are on this article. Now I'm not going to bring them up on screen, obviously, because I don't want other people's usernames and that going across. But feel free to. It'll be in the show notes. I may even drop it into the chat so you can have a look at yourself and just have a look through the comments. The comments are exactly how you'd expect it to. Yeah. It's basically everything that we've just gone over now. Now I can see that our chat is starting to pop as well.
Some of these are good.
So, Fatman Dave, morning pal. The game was at the place where I used to look for games just out because it was close to my college and then look around for a better price. Ice Cream Lovers bought a game at Christmas. It was delivered to my door cheaper from Amazon than it would have been to drive into the Trafford Centre. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The prices they offer at trade-ins as well are outrageously bad, says it's David Fish. £42 for a AAA games, £1.17 deal. The fact that it's highly accurate is the saddest thing. Yeah, GameStop do that, I believe. You got all the World of Warcraft kids who smell lingering around and I don't like it. So I'm guessing that's in relation to them having couches and there being like a leisure centre and stuff like that. Asim says, yep, I used to work at GameStation back in the day, one of the best jobs that I had. Morning Asim, by the way. We worked hard, put the customer first, honest, and it was a laugh. The game brought it and then it all went corporate and left.
Sums up really, doesn't
it? Yeah, it's really harsh for me to say I'm glad that game are finally starting to crumble. But it's obviously sad that people are potentially going to be losing their jobs over this one because it's absolutely nothing to do with them. My idea growing up when I was like 14, 15, going into these shops was I would absolutely fucking love a job at game. I would love nothing more than people to come in, talk to me about games. We'd then share stories or whatever, and then ultimately I'd end up flogging them in the game. Do you know what I mean? But now obviously we're doing that behind a desktop to you guys, so everything's worked out in the end. But yeah, it's a shame that it's had to get to this point.
It'd be good if it got taken over by a better company, wouldn't
Absolutely,
it?
I mean, if CEX end up buying... I mean, CEX at the best time smells fucking awful. It doesn't matter what CEX that you go into, it always stinks of piss and BO. But yeah, hopefully it's going to get to a point where they're going to go, right, what is it that people actually want? Yeah. And then start to build it around that because you want people to come into your shop. It's the same as any shop, not just necessarily a game shop. If your shop's doing well, the likelihood is you've got stuff in that people want at a price that they would be willing to either walk to, drive to, and give you their cash. Exactly. That should be the ultimate principle of any kind of business, not what's the biggest that we can get from this? Oh, someone's selling it on eBay at £50. We'll do £50 because people are going to come in and buy from that. Yeah, it doesn't work like that, and I'm glad that someone at Sports Direct is going, right, okay, I mean, it's weird saying game and Sports Direct. It wouldn't surprise me if eventually Sports Direct say, okay, we've got a massive story, let's just have game in the corner like Sainsbury's has done with Argos.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, maybe.
It's very odd. Hopefully this is going to get sorted out sooner rather than later because apparently the turnaround is about 8 months for each game shop currently. So let's see in 8 months' time whether or not this changes. I I hope it does, because I like the fact that I can go into games, get into any kind of game store and browse whether or not it be a retro one like CEX, or go into game and have a look at what's coming out. The fact that if you're buying a digital game now, the game is still £35. I'm surprised they haven't dropped that, because you could have killed this industry off 3 years ago. But we'll see. I mean, that was one hell of a rant.
But tell us what you really think.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, the Belong arenas are stunning. If you've seen any of the Game Belong arenas, they are glorious places. Just like proper esports. Like you see it in America, these massive esports arenas.
Yeah.
We're hoping to try and get more of these. I hope to God that the Belong esports arenas are not tied in with the game stores, because I would hate Game to go under and then Belong to go under because it's not got that partnership anymore. Because the way that esports is shaping up at the moment, the more offline games that we can get, hopefully we can get more bigger spaces. There's going to be more interaction. Twitch is just going to be popping. No one cares about Mixer, so we're not going to talk about them. But more esports events being streamed that we can go to, sit there and watch, the better. So hopefully that won't be the case. But yeah, tell us what we really think, Bibbs.
No, it was interesting.
Right, so we're going to go on to a much lighter topic now. Thank God. This one is this one. If you can see this one, I'll let you take this one.
I will go with it.
Have you played any of these games before?
Montreal, are they the ones that did like the Arkham ones? Or are they? Yes. Perfect then. I'm actually excited for that. Then.
Absolutely.
Bear with though, because I need to bring it up on my iPad.
That's fine. That's fine. I will change in a couple of seconds, but I'm just going to run through the chat then. Next Gen Renegade. Good morning, mate. Says a lot when our independent game store is doing bits and game is on its hand. Yes, Eclipse. Eclipse is such a great store. I mean, sometimes they are £2 or £3 or more overpriced for the retro stuff. Like, I think I paid like £11 for a copy of Pro Evo, which should never have been paying £11. But I bought it anyway.
They're a bit more independent, them, and the more local sort of thing. And they used to be big on sort of like renting. You know, like Blockbuster was a big thing, and you used to be able to do it at Eclipse as well. I remember it was like renting games.
Oh, that's mint. I remember I used to rent VHSs from a local corner shop, buy a bag of bonbons and get Armageddon on video. The crazy thing now is that I look at most of these sites and see how much they offer for trainings and the difference to selling it, and they sell it on Gumtree, spot where I can get close to the original price. Exactly. You might as well just get rid of it yourself. Facebook Marketplace is littered with absolute gold. If you need something, chances are someone's flogging it because I found it in the granddad's loft or something like that. Esports Direct, I fucking love that. Let's get more of those. That's a great name. You need to patent that before they take it, by the way, Fish. Well, the game used to be in Camden, then they weren't as much as they used to, so they moved their store to a tiny part of a Maplin store. Smart move, that. I mean, are Maplin still doing as well as they used to do?
I definitely forgot about their existence, put it that way.
So no.
Probably not.
You've heard it first with Luke Burns.
Right, I've got it. So this is a VG247 article, and it is by Stephany Nunneley.
Oh, Maplin went bust. There we go.
Oh, there we go. That's why I don't know anything about them anymore. Confirmed. Right, so Warner Brothers Montreal is once again teasing a new Batman game. Warner Brothers Montreal is once again... he literally just repeats the title again. And this time out, the tease shows a logo. Once again, Capture the Night is the theme to the Batman tease, but Warner Brothers Montreal has gone a few steps further than what was first teased in September. 2 images, each showing part of a logo, have been posted to social media. One was tweeted out and the other image posted on Instagram. When putting both together, what you have is something that looks really similar to a Gotham City police badge, as noted on Resetera. So yeah, if you got those up now on the screen, for our listeners, you'll have to check these out on the notes afterwards, but or obviously just on their social channels. Looks intriguing.
That is dynamite. I love that badge. That is quality.
It just says, hopefully we'll have more detail soon on what Warner has in store for Batman fans. But I loved the other Batman games.
Yeah, the 3 Batman games. I mean, I think Arkham Asylum is potentially one of my favourite games ever.
Yeah.
It's an amazing game. The fact that they've brought Mark Hamill over to be able to do the Joker's voice from the animated series, which I obviously watched growing up, it's genius. Samantha had never played any of these games before, until I was just like, you just need to play them. She loves Batman. I was like, you need to play them. Like, one of the best Batman things that never got made into like a film or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, for me, I casually liked Batman before, but then playing those games, and I was even reading a little bit of the extra sort of databases and stuff that you can bring up in that about the characters, because I just realised how it kind of helped me realise how good Batman is from like characters' point of view as well, like all the different villains and stuff like that. I know it's like obvious to say this is like I know what Batman is, but it kind of just helped me realise, wow, like that's so cool. And and I definitely feel like he's like one of my favourite superheroes now, partially because of these games. They're so good. Especially, I agree actually, I think the first one is the best. Even though it is a bit more linear or whatever, I think it kind of helped in that respect.
Well, the whole tone of it being in the Arkham Asylum, it being dark, dungy, mysterious, atmospheric, just feeds into the whole Batman universe and the whole... all of DC for me, it epitomises what the whole thing is about. Gotham City is a very dark place.
Yeah.
And they managed to transfer all of the films, like the Tim Burton ones, all of the 90s ones, all of the Adam West ones, where it's just a really dark place, and they managed to bring all that into an Arkham Asylum, which makes you terrified of going into the next place. It's just a phenomenal game, and we need more of this. I can't remember. Was it Arkham City that was the last one? Or Arkham Knight?
Arkham's Knight, I think. Arkham Knight was the one where they had your Batmobile.
Yeah. Was that 2000? I'm sure it came out on the PS4. 2015 or maybe 16,
something like that. Yeah, I got it for the PS4. I did, yeah, but I don't know whether it was like yeah, I think it was just PS4 that one.
Yeah.
I should probably note as well, actually, Asim's just said, Warner Brothers Montreal did Batman Arkham Origins. Rocksteady developed Asylum and City and Night. So Origins got a bit of a bad rep, but still a very good game. Decent story too. Very much looking forward to this new one, Batman fan and all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a bit mixed up with the publishers then, but still looking forward to a new Batman.
Absolutely. I mean, they can't. I was just about to say, can you make a bad Batman game?
Ooh, well, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
Like you can make a bad Star Wars game. Star Wars is amazing.
If you can get the right voice actors, you can nail down everything that epitomises Batman. Like, did you ever watch Gotham, a TV series?
No, I didn't actually, but I know.
Oh mate, if you're a Batman fan and you've never watched it, watch it. It's phenomenal. I started watching it was on Channel 5 years ago, and then it just kind of disappeared from Channel 5. So I found it highly illegal ways to be able to watch the remaining series, because most of them was on Netflix, but not the latest season. But if you've never watched Gotham, watch that, because I don't know where they've managed to find these characters from, like the people who play them, but you couldn't think of anybody else that could play them better.
That's so cool. That's always a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah. So you got a young Bruce Wayne who, when it started, I don't even know when it started. Maybe it was 2013 or 14. I think the kid was 8 when it started. Wow. So he's got that far into it now that he's like a 13, 14-year-old lad. So that's the guy who plays Bruce Wayne. But then you see like a really young Penguin, a really young Harvey. It's
interesting.
It's really, really good. It's like an origin story.
Yeah, it just sounds really cool, actually.
But yes, you guys, ending says Phantom Menace? Not quite yet, mate. We've still got 3 news stories. Believe it or not, we've been streaming for what time are we? Nearly an hour, and we've only done 2 news stories.
This is the third, isn't it? Yeah.
Sorry, the third one, yeah. Next Gen Renegade says, if it does have the Nemesis engine, the thought of having the hierarchy system will blow my mind. The chance of it having a small-time crime boss being able to grow and become a major villain could be amazing. Oh, the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor? Is that... Have you mentioned that before? Twitter mentioned the new Batman game. Yeah, you mentioned it above. Someone on Twitter mentioned that the new Batman game could be using the Nemesis engine from Shadow of Mordor. That would be epic. Did you play Shadow of Mordor? And Shadow of War?
No. It's one of those games I remember seeing like in sales recently. I was thinking, literally like finger hovered over the buy button sort of thing. I do want to give them a shot at some point.
They are brilliant. Precision, good morning, lads. Good morning to you, mate. Asking what I was saying, missed joke. Have I missed something? It's okay, some people need to know. Oh, okay, I think they're talking about the Maplin thing, because me and you was completely oblivious to it. It shows how much we used to go in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, long story short, yeah, they might as well not exist. Whether they do or don't, I don't know. I'm confused now, but...
So we've got our 2 last stories for today. This one is on the Metro. Metro's starting to do bits in the video game world.
Are they?
I've even listed them as one of my places that I go to for all my game stuff. I mean, they go under the banner of GameCentral. I don't know who that is. It must just be a team of people or someone that doesn't want to know who people are, but we'll bring this up. So, in absolutely no shock horror, Call of Duty is the first number one game of 2020. Games charts, the 4th of January. So this isn't much of an article. It's basically just a list of what we're going to start the decade with.
Okay.
Yours is still loading.
Mine's still.
Yeah.
Every time I scroll, it reloads itself. Stupid. I can see it on the screen anyway.
Yeah. So the UK formats retail chart, which is the only chart that we tend to care about, is Call of Duty Modern Warfare number 1, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order number 2, FIFA 20 still going strong at number 3. Oh my god! See, you know, we was talking about games that still hold their value.
Yeah, definitely.
Any Nintendo game, it's ridiculous.
That will surely be people who just
got it for Christmas.
Got a Switch.
Yeah,
even because it's one of the absolute. You have to get Mario Kart, don't you?
It's an amazing game. Amazing game. We haven't played that much in the office. We really need to.
Yeah, we do.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in number 4. Luigi's Mansion in number 3. Now, I've seen that Mr. Graham Day has been playing this one, and Asim has completed it as well.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people's game of the year last year that seemed to have gone under the radar.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? But I absolutely want to pick it up. It does sound really good.
So this is... I cannot... We spoke about this earlier on in the year. I cannot believe that this game is still in the charts.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Grand Theft Auto 5 is still number 6 in the UK chart. Now I'm going to go through the rest of the world's charts, which are still listed in this as well, to see whether or not it's still hanging on everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's incredible that this game that was, don't forget, on the Xbox 360 and PS3 is still being sold.
How has everyone
so
not
well.
got it yet?
It's ridiculous. Borderlands 3, number 7. Just Dance 2028. Wow. Red Dead Redemption 2, just over 12 months later, is still holding on to the number 9 spot. And how is WWE 2020? How is that in there after the bad rap it got?
It's just they love a
Did we not sell any games around in December in the UK?
I bet a lot of that is just like, I hate to say it, but just like parents who didn't know better, sort of thing. Oh, you know, my son or daughter or whatever loves wrestling. I'll get this, you know, and they don't know basically.
It is mental. So we're gonna go right the other way across the side of the earth. We're going to have a look at what's been crack-a-lacking in the Japanese market. So Pokemon Sword and Shield, number 1. Luigi's Market. Luigi's Market.
That'd be an interesting one.
It's the grocery special.
Come and buy my cabbages. Yeah, exactly.
So Luigi's Mansion in at number 2. Ring Fit Adventure in number 3. Minecraft in number 4. Mario Kart still holding on there in number 5. Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics in number 6. First time we've seen that one. Smash at number 7. Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training for Nintendo Switch. That shows how we don't care about that kind of thing.
We'd rather shoot things.
Super Mario Party in number 9. And Shuri Spirits Nintendo Switch version in number 10.
There's a very striking thing for me instantly in those top 10 games. Have you noticed?
Pretty much. No, in fact,
every single game
is a Nintendo Switch game, which is incredible, really. That's a clean sweep of Nintendo games over in Japan. I mean, it shouldn't be of any kind of shocking behaviour, really.
No, I guess not. I mean, you know, sometimes it's easy to forget that PlayStation, obviously Sony, are a Japanese company first and foremost, and you would have thought they should be doing really well in Japan as well, but I think they do a really good job of feeling Western to us Westerners, if that makes sense.
Well, I think more because they tend to... I mean, this is 100% generalisation of other things, other mediums that I've taken in before, but apparently they just play a lot of handheld games over there, which is why the 3DS went for so long.
Yeah, they do, I think.
They much rather... I think it's PC and a handheld that they tend to have because they do a lot of commuting. Yeah. They just sat there in the train, they're just playing the games. I mean, that's why mobile games are so popular over there, because it's so convenient to have your mobile on you and you can play games. They're not carting your PS4 onto a train or anything like that.
True.
But yeah... I'm just having a look at some of the comments. 2020, the cats of the video game world, so bad that you have to see it. I am not paying £30 to experience that. No. I didn't want to go to the cinema and watch Cats for £10. So Just Dance 8, that's probably just from all the chatting thoughts, maybe. Geez, WWE 2K20 at 10, surprised by that, says Next Gen Renegade. Pez Effect saying that he has a bad addiction about flaming people on Twitter. Don't speak about FIFA, please. All in caps, so he's absolutely raging.
Nope.
And Fish says that GTA 5 still being in the top 10 is insane. Now, I'm going to have a look at the US market as well, just to make sure that we have a nice little contrast, because I'm very interested, which is why I've left it off the screen, to see what's happening over there. So, number 1 in the US charts is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which echoes what's happening over in the UK. Yeah. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order again in number 2. Pokemon Sword.
Was Pokemon Sword and Shield weren't in the UK charts, were they?
I don't think there was, no. No, there wasn't.
Interesting.
It's appeared 3 times in the UK, taking the 3rd, 4th and 5th. Now you're saying, Bibby, there's only 2 Pokemon games. Well, lo and behold, the Dual Pack has made it into number 4.
Wow.
Madden NFL 20, Death Stranding at number 7, NBA 2K20 at number 8, Need for Speed Heat at number 9, and Luigi's Mansion in number 3.
Number 10.
Sorry, number 10. I'm looking at the 3 next to it. So that's a hell of a drop for Luigi's Mansion, going from 3 to 10 the following week.
Yeah.
So they're saying that this doesn't include Steam sales in Star Wars Jedi Order, and does not include digital sales in the Pokemon games and Luigi's Mansion.
Although anyone who's getting any new Nintendo game digitally, I mean, it's a bit like, getting a game from Game.
Yeah.
You get it £20 cheaper, sort of like on Amazon or whatever.
Mental. So GameCentral has their top 20 games of 2019. Now, those of you that can see this in the chat, you can obviously watch this. You're watching along with us. You're commenting. Out of these games, I want to know your top 3, because we discussed this in our Christmas special, wasn't it? We discussed that game of the years. Now, obviously, a lot of people did watch that, and they give me some feedback on that. But I want to know from you guys that are in the chat now what your top 3 games was from last year, because I can guarantee that everybody's top 3 is going to be completely different because of the magnitude of games that came out last year. A lot of them wasn't just the typical AAA stuff. There was a few curveballs being thrown in there. Yeah. A lot of indie games actually ended up doing quite well last year. So I'm just going to run through these very quickly, because again, it's something that we've already discussed in the Christmas show. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice was number 1. Astral Chain was number 2. I would never have placed that, even though it did look good. Yeah. Completely forgot about you. Yeah. Baba Is You, never heard of it.
Nope.
Apex Legends at number 4.
Do you buy that technically? I mean,
there must be a season pass. There must be a season pass. Total War 3 Kingdoms. Is that a you game? Is that a you game? I think it's definitely
we worked with that on Koch Nordic. I'm pleased to see it did that well. Yeah. Obviously purely due to my work.
Wreckfest, apparently that was an absolute banger last year. I do need to pick that one up. Devil May Cry 5, I can't believe they're still making them games. The first 3 was absolutely outstanding. The Outer Worlds. Yeah, you played that one, didn't you?
Yeah, not completed it, but it is good stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's made by Fallout New Vegas, guys. It's got to be a banger on it. Sunless Skies, didn't play that one. John Wick Hex looked fucking awful, so I didn't even try that. Metro Exodus in at number 11. Football Manager 2020, loved the fact that Football Manager is still getting referenced. I thought people, unless you're a hardcore football fan, it probably just passes right over your head. The Outer Wilds. Now, that's definitely one that I get mixed up with the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Even though it's a completely different game.
I can't remember what Outer Wilds is now, because I just think about Worlds.
Yeah, exactly. Samurai Showdown, and never played it. Devotion, in at number 15. Untitled Goose Game looked, again, awful game. It did not look like a game that I would play.
I think I might have quite enjoyed it, actually.
I mean, this was streamed by Jess on Ice Cream Uploads, and I was just watching it going, how did somebody make this game? I mean, I play a lot of shit, but that game, I won't even get my grubby mitts on that one. Luigi's Mansion 3 in at number 17. Control at 18. Now, that was a lot of people's game of the year. So it's interesting to see that they've listed it at 18.
Another one I wanted to try out. I mean, there's just too many, aren't there?
Yeah. Asgard's Wrath at number 19. And then the last one is Knights and Bikes. So there is a lot of games in there that I have never heard of before that they still managed to make it.
Yeah, I could not have begun to guess most of those. And it's a bit like we said in our Christmas special. I think we were unanimously in agreement that it was a weaker year than perhaps the year before, the year before that.
Resident Evil should have won them all.
I mean, I remember obviously there were 1 or 2 big games, and that was obviously one of them. But I don't know, like compared to sort of like, was it a year or 2 ago where you would have got like God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn.
I mean, we've still got Ghost of Tsushima coming this year.
Yeah.
We've still got Last of Us 2 coming this year. We've still got Resident Evil 3 coming this year. You know what I mean, mate? That's going to be banging of the year. And then later on in the year, we've got the release of the consoles. So this year, the 2020 is shaping up to be one of the biggest years in video games. I mean, I'm happy at the fact that we're getting to a point where we're established enough to be able to say, right, this is going to be happening this week. We've got the Xbox, we've got the PlayStation, we're going to talk about it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This is the most exciting year, I think, for Ice Cream Uploads with all of this coming out. Now,
definitely.
I think in our existence, we've only had the Switch come out.
Yeah.
And I think that was a month or two in and around that. But the fact that this year we've got two legit consoles coming out.
Yeah. And then the Switch one as well, potentially.
The Switch Pro. Yep.
I just want to know, by the way, in terms of... I think I already know the answer for you, but the chat as well, like, who actually played Sekiro Shadows Die Twice?
I'm 90% sure that Craig did.
Craig did.
Because I was having a conversation, because I'm sure it was either that, or was it Hellblade? No, it must have been this. I'm fairly certain he was telling me that I needed to play it because I like them kind of games, but I've never, and I haven't picked it up. I'll probably wait for it to come down in price because my game backlog at the moment is outrageously big. There was loads of games that I wanted to get finished over Christmas, and what happened? Text from Graham, Fortnite, bro, Fortnite. So I just ended up playing a shitload of Fortnite with him.
Craig hasn't played it. He said, no, I haven't. It was Hellblade.
Hellblade, that was it, yeah.
So I still, it's just weird that it's number one, and I don't really know anyone who's played it. Sekiro.
Yeah. Very interesting one. It I imagine though, because it went off a lot. It went off people's votes for Game of the Year,
right,
didn't it? It wasn't like a judges panel like GDC. GDC can get it up here,
true,
because the games that they chose were just fucking abysmal. Anyway, that's in my wholehearted opinion. I see. Asim said Death Stranding. I'm guessing this is in order. Death Stranding, Control, and Resident Evil 2. He's got them the wrong way around. It should be Resident Evil 2, Control, and then Death Stranding. But I appreciate that. That's three absolute bangers there, to be fair. Don't shit on FM or I was slay faces, says Precision. Fish is saying, I didn't really play much in 2019, just hibernating until Last of Us 2. That's... I mean, you're going to need at least a year to be able to come back stronger for that one. I only played one game from 2019 and loved it. It was Resident Evil 2. That is the exact answer that I wanted to know. Days Gone, Resident Evil 2, and number one, Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order was his number one. So Resident Evil 2 takes the number two spot in Next Gen Renegade, Mr. AKA Craig from the Ice Cream team. Asim says, I played Sekiro, a bit too much for me. That's from someone who loves Bloodborne.
Interesting.
So it makes me think, like, was this like if you're an Arsenal fan, you just bomb all Twitter polls for you to be able to get number one so you don't come fourth all the time? Yeah. Was this just a case of they was the vocal minority that ended up becoming the majority because nobody else wanted to vote for the other ones?
I know what you mean. It was very much from the offset for me, a left field sort of thing. Like, I just didn't hear much about it, and then it just started winning like Game of the Year. And, I don't know. It's just
start paying attention.
Yeah, apparently.
Let's bring the camera. Let's bring the camera over. Phantom saying H1Z1 is making a little comeback. You seen that? I haven't seen that, but I did actually really enjoy H1Z1, especially when it came to the PS4. I was terrible on PC, but that's literally when I first started getting into PC gaming. The Battle Royale genre would just blow my mind. So I was terrible on that. So I'm glad that something's coming back with that. Twitch Rivals tournament this weekend. Massive streamers confirmed for it. The old school streamers coming back for it. Be sure to watch that. I mean, any kind of event like that, I am all in for. I need to read up more about this. It could make Monday's show, depending on how well it goes this weekend. But I want to know the caliber of people that are going to be there. Am I going to see a Shroud? Am I going to see the Doc? Am I going to see a Summit? Is Ninja going to be playing it? The one clip that I absolutely adore from H1Z1 is when Summit gets like stream sniped, he just punches his camera. His camera just goes, right, I'm fucking out, dudes, bye. He just logs off his stream. Tfue confirmed already. Oh, mate, it's going to be a banger then. Again, I absolutely loved H1Z1, and I used to get the piss taken out of me for that.
I remember we played it a little bit, didn't we, in the earlier days? But it was definitely one of the first sort of battle royale, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think if you go through to our clips, there's a couple of clips of me taking stupidly long headshots on that game, and me selling. I think at one time I did a lap around this desk. It was an absolute worldie of a shot. But yeah, that is the Call of Duty in the first number one. I don't think it's any. There is no shock for me in there. It's a game that's going to continue to sell all year until the new one comes out. It's definitely going to be in the top 5 in and around May, June, July, August, September time until the new one probably drops in October next year. So we're going to leave you with one final article.
Let me get this up.
Yeah. Now, I know most of you that are in here do actually stream, and you may have seen this news already. So if you haven't, then it's perfect, and you can get on the hype train.
Exactly.
You see what I did there? Little segue.
Let's get a little hype for this next article. Twitch is launching hype train this afternoon. I don't know whether this afternoon is this afternoon. It was yesterday afternoon.
It was yesterday, yeah.
Which means you'll get emotes for going off in chat. And by the way, this is by oh Christ, how do you pronounce his name? Bijan Stevens.
Yeah.
But
We'll just go with Mr. Stephen.
Yeah, Mr. Stephen from The Verge. So, hype is important on Twitch. That's why the company is gamifying it with a new feature called Hype Train, launching on Thursday. If you donate enough to a partnered or affiliate channel, you'll see a bar pop up above chat, which will give donators rewards as it fills. Hype is what powers the biggest events on the site, like, for example, Awesome Games Done Quick, which raises an astonishing amount of money for a charity every year. This year's beneficiary is the Prevent Cancer Foundation, and you can watch the streams live right now. One person going off in chat with a large donation or a bunch of gifted subscriptions can prompt other viewers who feel similarly energized to do the same. When it happens, it's a beautiful thing to see, especially when it's in service of a good cause. So a hype train starts when a viewer or group of viewers contributes materially to a channel past a certain streamer designated threshold. Twitch calls it a spike in support events from different viewers in a channel. Basically an uptick in bits or subs, which kicks off a countdown timer. As the timer ticks down, viewers who donate above a minimum of 100 bits will fill a meter that distributes emote rewards for everyone who's donated. If the meter fills up before the timer ends, a new level is unlocked, and the more you donate, the more it fills. It's also not just for charity. Any partner or affiliate channel that has the feature enabled can have a hype train start. Let's get a hype in the chat now. Give us all your hundreds and hundreds. Okay. You'll be able to see, for those watching, by the way, the emotes on
Yeah, they are actually well designed, aren't they? They are pretty cool.
They are pretty funky, yeah. So, there are 5 levels, each with custom Twitch designed and randomly distributed emotes you'll get to keep after the train ends. The harder difficulty settings, super hard and insane, give extra rewards to viewers. Streamers can set how difficult it is to reach level goals, as well as mandatory cooldown periods. If a hype train happens too often, as Twitch points out, it can fatigue viewers. And yes, because this is a train, there are conductors, aka the people who donate the most bits and subs. Hype Train is currently in beta, but expect to see this feature in the wild Thursday afternoon. So go on, toss this up to your streamer.
And this is a perfect segue to say that if you are in the chat and you do have Twitch Prime and you aren't using it on anybody else, then feel free to use it on us. We would greatly accept that. Precision's dropping 100 bits already. Thank you very much for that. Now, is this going to be a little small thing? But no, it's something that's great. I mean, it will work perfectly at events like they're explaining there. It's the GDQ.
Yeah.
It's for a massive reason that everything that's going to be donated to them is going to go to a charity.
Yeah,
for channels like ours or any other community channel, it's greatly appreciated because it just goes back into fulfilling our studios and things like that.
Exactly.
It doesn't necessarily, it doesn't go into our pockets, you know what I mean? It's not going to be bundled in my little wage at the end. But yeah, it basically just keeps the lights and mics on.
Precisely.
But yes, this is perfect. Again, if Fancy has just dropped 100 bits as well. Oh, we're getting this train going, baby!
Thank you.
Now, I don't
much.
actually get to see where the train actually goes to. Like,
I know.
I can't see a bar or anything. I mean, if I go back to this,
the problem is because this is only just launched, right? We might not yet have set certain things like those thresholds and stuff like that.
That's a very good point. They just don't stop donating though.
It's like
you got to sort out the Christmas
still goes to a good cause.
Yeah. But yeah, where's that train? I want a refund. But yeah, I mean, it's again, it's just Twitch becoming the juggernaut and best way for people to be able to stream, interact with their community and things like that. And we're very grateful to be here and be Twitch partners.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, we didn't even get this before everybody else. It was just like a one-time drop thing, and Baterson's just screaming at me on my monitor. But yeah, again, these are all just some of them are PSAs, some of them are articles for you to get joined into.
Exactly.
But that is our fifth and final article for today. It's been a hell of a show. I mean, it's been
good one.
Yeah, to say that the week started off so slow purely because of the festive period and everybody returning to work. It's been a slog for the first 3 days, but I'm glad that the momentum or the hype train for news articles is starting to pick back up again.
Precisely, yeah. It's been interesting. We've had some quite diverse news topics there as well, thinking about it, from retail to charts to Pokemon to Twitch. It's been pretty good. And
I've just seen a pirate drop in another 100 bits there. Again, guys, it's very much appreciated. And I do very much appreciate. Oh, it's there on the screen. Can you all see that? Look at that. Oh yeah, that? It's actually started. Level 1 hype train, 19%, and it goes on for another 5 minutes. Is this just... Oh, he's just dropped a link in the chat. So if we press this... Oh my god, we've got our very first hype train, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like we need to keep this going for another few minutes before we sign off now.
Oh shit, yeah, it's there.
90%.
So it comes up on your screen, but just not on mine. That's actually pretty sick. Well, I'm glad that you're able to see it off the first time over it.
It works, guys. Confirmed.
But yes, 2020 is shaping up to be one hell of a year on Ice Cream Uploads. And the rest of you all of you that are in here do pretty much stream. So for all of us, it's going to be one hell of a year. We've got so many games coming out. We've got brand new systems dropping. We've got news articles coming to you on the daily from us to be able to give back to you, which you can consume at your leisure either on any of the 4 podcast services.
Right, okay, so you can listen to them on Spotify, on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play.
Nailed it. So if you are going to listen to one of those, please do it on SoundCloud. I never would have known this, but SoundCloud is like the biggest platform for podcasts. I consume all mine on Spotify, which is obviously easy because I've got a Spotify account. But if you are sat at your PC, you want to listen to on SoundCloud, please feel free to do that over for us. It's our biggest platform, barring obviously Twitch, where you can join us live.
You can also, if you really want to, open 4 tabs for each of the 4 platforms and try and hit play exactly at the same time and have sort of not even stereo or I don't know what 4 different things going on in your head.
But Dolby haven't got anything for that. Next Gen Renegades dropped another 100. The choo-choo. We are on our way.
Oh yes.
But yes, as explained before, this is going to be the biggest year for us and for you at home as consumers. Do feel free to like us on all of our platforms, including Twitch, YouTube, which this will be seen in an hour's time. You'll be able to find this on podcast services, which Jeroen has very kindly just listed for you later on this afternoon. You'll be able to find us on social media at We've Got Babinho on Twitter, at Jeroen. Would you like to spell that for everyone?
It's Jearoon, and it means absolutely nothing. It was. Shall I tell you?
Go on. Let's just listen to the
It's a really boring story actually, but it was just that. When I was younger, I thought, have you ever thought, I'll write a book or something? Or have you ever thought about doing that before? Write a little story?
Anybody that's listened to me speak knows full well that English is not my first language, so writing would be.
I don't know. I just like when I was younger, I was like, I kind of came at this and you know what? It'd be great if I just write a story. I'm quite a creative person, and I probably got about 3 pages in and gave up. But the only good that came of that is that it was like a little fantasy novel, and I named like Lord of the Rings, so they're just like loads of weird words, made up words. So Jeroen was the name of one of the main sort of characters who ended up not existing in a world that didn't exist, but I got the name out of it. So.
Well, I mean, it's just like what Skepta did. He wanted to find something that when you type Skepta, nothing will come up in Google.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I know I can always get it.
Yeah, exactly. Every platform is going to be there. But yeah, I forgot where we're up to now. You can listen to this on podcast services later on Friday afternoon, which is today. If you can follow us on all of our social media platforms that us who have just listened. Also, Graham_Day, who is another one of our co-hosts, which you should be able to see back in the office on Monday. And obviously Ice Cream Uploads, because that's what we're giving you this platform on.
Precisely. Make sure to give us a follow on all our social channels as well.
Boom. So if you do see anything breaking over the weekend that we have missed, feel free to tag all of us in those. We'll be able to include them in the show on Monday. Or just get the conversation started. I will be on Twitter, as by my screen time shows that I spend nearly enough 60% of my time on Twitter. So yeah, feel free to do that. We'll be able to give you that. Thank you very much for each and every one of you that are in the chat today. It's amazing to show your support, either dropping us bits and just getting involved with the conversation. It makes our lives a lot easier, and it makes us feel like we've got
socials as well, like Pirates just done. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Oh, so Pirate said a subscription as well. Oh, what a guy! They've subscribed for 3 months, just as we're about to leave as well. What a guy! But yeah, do feel free to follow each other if you're all in the chat. Show the love to each and all of us. We are one big community. But guys, until then.
Sorry, I've just got to say 8 seconds after the hype train, so I just want to wait
until see how this plays out.
56%. I think we've got to on the hype train, which I feel like is a target that maybe one.
We're halfway to the end of the tunnel, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Will we be able to finish the rest of the tunnel on Monday?
Who knows?
Who knows, mate?
Tune in to find out.
What you've got to do is
you've got to just tune in to find out.
Yes. But how do we use it on the show, mate?
Oh right, okay. You've got to stay frosty.
See you Monday, guys.
Bye.